Welcome back. This segment, I'm joined by one of my really good buddies and golf analyst partners, Roger Clark. Roger, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Daniel.
Roger has worked for Adventure Radio for what, Roger?
Too many years that we don't want to count them.
Okay, we'll leave the years alone, but I had the good fortune of working with Roger this year on course, doing some analysis and play-by-play calling for Adventure Radio, and it was an amazing experience. Roger, jumping into, or quickly, before we move to the Liberty Mutual, let's talk a little bit about our champion, Carl Peterson.
Pretty easy deal. Led the entire tournament, the field in greens and regulation and in putting. So just about any golf tournament that you're at, that'll get you a win, but especially here at Harbortown and Sea Pines. Great job, excellent ball striking, and our good friend Bob Stevens indicated that he probably should have won Houston if he'd have made any putts there. So played really well and made a lot of putts. Precision way to get around the golf course, left himself a lot of 15-foot uphill putts, and that's the way to do it around Harbortown.
Well, and he's a really charismatic guy, to say the least, and quite funny, I found. As I heard in several interviews, he not only refers to himself, but his peers refer to him as the Swedish redneck. He has dual citizenship in both Sweden and America.
A Swedish redneck.
Yeah, that's how he refers to himself.
Then Carolina could adopt him as well as Boo Weekly, right? Maybe they could have a camouflage pairing and get things going. Excellent job. Really, in the Saturday and Sunday on the weekend, I really only saw him misplay 2 shots, and he didn't hit them badly, just maybe a questionable selection of how he went about executing a shot. But other than that, his driving was excellent in the right positions, and he hit great irons, and that's proven out by the stats. A deserving champion, and Tartan will look good on him for a full year.
Speaking of the tartan, I understand that when he went to be presented his jacket, they didn't have one that would fit him. So Steve Wilmot had to take his jacket off, and his wife later tweeted, "Congratulations, Peter Swede, my fat guy and a little coat." From Tommy Boy, if you're not familiar with the reference. So yeah, Carl, not only a deserving champion and world with 5 victories now, you got to consider him as a true world-class player. Who probably will be a Ryder Cupper. So a deserving champion who has a lot of charisma and certainly doesn't take himself that seriously. We're excited.
And we want to note Cort Nost, who learned an awful lot. Never been in a Sunday final pairing with all the camera people running around, radio people running around, and all the attention other than the triple bogey at 3. Acquitted himself very well, and I'm sure playing with his friend, the champion, learned a lot of things, and it'll help him in the future because he hasn't had exactly a successful PGA Tour career so far.
Right.
So we'll hopefully pull for him in the future.
A great learning experience for Cort Nost for sure. Roger, moving on, we're going to head down the road just a little bit on over to Savannah, where this week we have the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf, the Champions Tour event that's become really popular. You're going to be covering that. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
First of all, a considerable contrast between the 2 golf courses.
Yeah.
Harbortown is extremely tight. Mr. Dye left at least several trees right in front of greens, in the fairways. Makes it very difficult to get around there. The Champions Tour players will have a lot easier at Savannah. It's basically wide open, so it helps them, and if they're spraying their tee shots a little bit, they don't need to really worry about it. It's an interesting golf course, some really big, oh my gosh, the 14th hole, 13th hole is probably 4 Harbortown greens put together.
Oh my gosh.
It's extremely large. So the competition is considerably different on those 2 golf courses. It's a great time to go out and interact with those players. I noticed on the pairings, John Jacobs and Fuzzy Zeller would probably be the most fun group to follow. They'll be quipping with the crowd and talking and yakking about what they did last night.
Probably during the round and after the round.
At the riverfront and wherever else they might wind up. Absolutely. That'd be a great group to follow. You got Ben Crenshaw, if you're having trouble with your putting and you want to watch him. He's so silky smooth. Defending champions McNulty and Egger are going to be there. Tom Watson and Andy North have won it at least 2 times, maybe 3.
Andy North is the analyst for NBC Sports.
Absolutely, yeah. And Tom Watson. The notes from the PR folks was, I think, 16 Hall of Famers.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
And it's a team event, so it's a little bit of a departure from your regular tour event, because these guys are playing together, and you know they're counting on each other to carry each other. We've all played in the member guest. We know what that's like. You had mentioned to me before we came on air that Bernhard Langer and Tom Lehman won this a few years back, and they're noted for something, but has nothing to do with golf.
You can probably find it on YouTube. They're missed. That's the only way to describe it. Messed up. They had no idea what they were doing, attempting a chest bump after winning the tournament after one of them and made about a 40-footer. And I can't even describe it. It's like 2 discordant animals trying to get together. They just missed. I don't even. If you can imagine a high five gone bad, a chest bump gone bad just doesn't look well at all.
Yeah, I've seen it. I know, Stephen, you've seen it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It doesn't get any worse
They
than
could
that.
use training. They actually probably looked like they had been out with John Jacobs and Fuzzy Zeller the night before, and that's how the mishap happened.
These great golfers seem to have a knack for not being very good at the high fives. I recall Tiger's missed high five with Steve after that chip in on 16 at the Masters in 05. I also recall Louis Oosthuizen with his double eagle last week. Right after he made it, they showed a slow-mo of him trying to slap his caddy, and Faraday had commented he could knock it in for double eagle from 270 yards, but he can't connect with his caddy's hand. Golfers aren't so good at this, are they?
You'd think their agents or PR people would have them practice that so they look good on the golf course. Absolutely.
Well, Roger, we've had some fun here. Thanks for being a guest. Looking forward to seeing you and hearing your coverage out at the Liberty Mutual. It was a wonderful week at Heritage. Thanks for all that you taught me personally. I look forward to working with you again next year. That's all the time we have in this segment. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the new golf pro at Dolphin Head. Stay with us.